Trigger warning. This video is for informational purposes only. And if you feel sad, feel like you can't function because of events like terrorist attacks, plane crashes, etc., friendly reminder to visit a therapist. This is going to be a very strong and emotional video, so please stick till the end to make the most out of it. Let's go. It all started on the morning of 9th of June when I was traveling from Vasant to Ghatkopar in Mumbai. I missed a train and boarded the next one. As soon as I got home, I heard the news. 13 people had fallen off that train and 4 people passed away. This was from the train that I missed. It shook me. It was such an unusual feeling. I didn't know anybody involved. It wasn't my usual route, but still I felt very uncomfortable. But this feeling didn't go away. After doing some research, I found out that this feeling is called collective grief. It's the shared emotional reaction and a sense of loss experienced by a group of individuals. These individuals might not even be related to each other, but this comes as a response to a common tragedy. Today, let's understand what is this feeling, when does this happen, how does this happen, and what can we do about it. Let's dive in. This year, it feels like the world is constantly delivering negative events. The Air India flight disaster, trains derailing, helicopter crashes, bridge drowning in Pune, ongoing conflict in Gaza and Manipur. It feels like people are dying everywhere, and sometimes it seems like nobody cares. These events are very personal and they resonate with our shared humanity. It makes us feel like this can happen to anybody around us, including us as well. We spoke to therapists, read multiple newspapers, articles, journals to understand what this feeling actually is and when can it happen. When something like the Air India crash happens, it disrupts the ordinariness of everyday activities, like taking a flight. It shatters our sense of safety and predictability. The COVID 19 pandemic, for instance, exposed us to unimaginable grief while being boxed in a room. It also left many of us with chronic anxiety, which people even feel today, years after the pandemic has passed. This type of grief is also actually mixed with anger, demanding justice and accountability. Sometimes a collective tragedy like this can also trigger our own past, bringing back our unprocessed grief, like that of relatives passing away or a friend's passing away. Then, from my last shot, I also shared another form of collective grief, climate anxiety. When we witness the degradation of our planet or the increasing frequency of extreme weather events, it can trigger a nameless, unpredictable fear of the unknown about our collective future. It's actually a very slow moving tragedy, unlike an instantaneous event, making it harder to process and pinpoint. But for some of us, it hits us as hard as a terrorist attack. But whether it's from a sudden disaster, a terrorist attack, an accident, or climate grief, the symptoms are very similar. They can include intense shock and a feeling of unreality, where your brain can't process what's true anymore, fear, anxiety, and a feeling of vulnerability, where you constantly feel scared like something is going to happen to you. Prolonged sorrow, anger, or guilt. This also includes survivor's guilt. For example, some families of victims from the Ahmedabad crash felt guilty for the victim's death because if they hadn't invited that person to come down to Ahmedabad for a wedding, an event, or something like that, then that person wouldn't have died. Or you can also get feelings of helplessness and difficulty concentrating, sleep disturbances, lethargy, fatigue, and physical aches. So, with this overwhelming shared sorrow, what can we all do? Actually, there are three things. Number one, take care of yourself. It's crucial to allow yourself to experience the shock, the sadness, the anger, fear without any judgment. In these times, intense events are normal. But then also, you should limit your media exposure. Excessive exposure to distressing news, especially visual content, can increase anxiety and stress. Watching videos and images triggers different parts of the brain than reading. This leads to higher levels of stress hormones as compared to something like reading a newspaper. For example, during the India Pakistan war like situation recently, there were reports that the Karachi port had been destroyed and captured by all Indian news media channels, which was entirely false. Please stay away from fake news, it is harming you more than you think. In this age of misinformation and AI, it is also more important to prioritize yourself so that you can then prioritize and help others. Step 2, find out the root cause. For instance, you might ask, why do these accidents keep happening? Let's take Boeing's example. There have been numerous reports suggesting issues with Boeing's quality control and past crashes. While no sources have confirmed that the latest Air India disaster happened because of Boeing, but it actually feels natural to ask these questions, especially when such an organization is involved with major issues in the past, like the crash in Ethiopia, various problems in the quality control, the suspicious death of a whistleblower just before he was going to present his case, etc. Another one. Take the example of the recent helicopter crashes that have been happening in our country. Such accidents have happened before with striking similarities. Like, one of the reasons why these accidents happen is because of the weather and the low ability of helicopter in such a case. Currently, the weather prediction in this case only depends on the perception of the pilot and what the pilot feels. The accident report of 2022 and 2023 crashes, where multiple people died, recommended that a weather station should be set up. It hasn't even been set up yet, more than 2 years after the recommendation. Now you will ask, where am I getting all of this information from and why hasn't it reached you yet? If news like that of a helicopter crashing so many times in a country reaches you and is made headlines, instead of Hindu Muslim debate, Hindi, Kannada, Marathi languages being enforced, you would probably not take that Boeing flight or that helicopter and ask questions to the accountable person instead. Now you know why people are actually interested in selling you fake news, misinformation, similar stuff. And what do they actually benefit from this? Isn't it then natural to ask that if people knew, why was the Boeing aircraft purchased? Why were the weather stations not set up? Why were more trains made AC without checking what would happen to those traveling in non AC trains? But sadly, asking such questions makes us feel quite helpless. Like you start feeling alone. How can I be alone to fight such a big corporation, to fight such a big organization? And what can I even do in such a case? Actually, apart from reading credible news, you can do little things. Step 3, how to act. Grief can actually be a very powerful agent for driving social change. If you feel like something or someone is responsible, then collecting yourself and then speaking up, taking action is vital in such cases. We've seen how movements like Black Lives Matter emerge from wrongful deaths, transforming individual grief into collective action by framing individual deaths as an act on the whole community. Research actually says that not attending a funeral or not taking part in mourning practices can make you poorer in grief adjustment and also has physical, social, and emotional outcomes. If you feel that corporate, organizational, or governmental responsibility plays a huge role in these tragedies, then the least you can do is actually research and then shift your demand accordingly. If you are concerned about a particular airline manufacturer, you can check which companies manufacture the planes used by the airlines before booking your flight. This is about transforming your grief and concern into informed action. Refusing to forget is actually an act of humanity, and it's the first thing that you should do to get justice for the victims and their families. It's the least you could do. Public figures also play an important role in extending support to the masses, and their acknowledgement matters in times of collective crisis. Make our public leaders more accountable for this. This is perhaps the most important step out of all of this. Meditate. Just 10 minutes of guided meditation per day can make you a lot calmer. This isn't about sitting silently waiting for something to happen. It's an active process of bringing the body back to the present and signaling safety to the brain, especially when your nervous system feels dysregulated. There are many apps available on guided meditation like Medito, or my personal favorite is actually the Vipassana app. We need to resolve not to forget, not to feel indifferent, but actually demand better from ourselves, from those in power, and the society that we help shape together. See you in the next one. Hope you like this. Bye.